Sometimes love stories don't begin in youth. They find us when we lived long enough to truly understand what love means. That was the case for Edward D. Kelly and Elizabeth A. Cunningham McKay Kelly, whose quiet stones rest in North Watertown Cemetery. Edward was born in 1857 in Copenhagen, New York, the youngest of six children and the only one born in the United States after his Irish parents, Patrick and Mary Creenan Kelly, crossed from Ireland to Canada and eventually settled in Lewis County about 1855 to 1856. He grew up working at his father's farm and later became a cabinet maker, spending years crafting furniture and carriage bodies in Lowville and Watertown. His first marriage was to Mary Ann Kelly. They married in 1889 but never had children. Mary Ann passed away in 1906. Meanwhile, about 30 miles away in Constableville, a woman named Elizabeth Cunningham was building a life of her own. The youngest of 11 children, she was the daughter of Christopher and Bridget Carey Cunningham, a London-born father and a Dublin-born mother who farmed the rocky soil of Lewis County. Elizabeth married Edmund McKay in 1886 and had one son, Clifford. But tragedy struck early. Edmund died in 1889, just 3 years into their marriage. Elizabeth raised Clifford alone, first as a servant and later as a nurse to the sick in Lowville. Two people, both widowed, Elizabeth supporting herself and her young son alone, living just blocks apart in Lowville. And then, in 1909, their paths crossed. That spring, Edward Kelly, age 50, and Elizabeth McKay, age 48, were married, and together they moved to Watertown, settling at 926 Remington Street, where Edward worked as a cabinet maker and later as a millwright. They shared 26 years together before Edward's passing in 1935. Elizabeth lived another decade, still at their Remington Street house, until her death in 1946. Her son Clifford continued on working as a railroad engineer for the New York Central Railroad, and he lived with his wife Alice in Mechanicsville and later New York City. Though Clifford never had children, the threads of this family stretch across generations of migration, from Ireland to Canada to Lowville to Watertown, and finally to the quiet stone where Edward and Elizabeth rest side by side. Their story is one of companionship when they didn't expect it. Proof that even after heartbreak, life has a way of offering one more chance at happiness. Thanks for all the help with this one. You guys knocked it out of the park. Until the next stone. Thanks for watching.